lead.
Ness and Lucas, aka some of the most beloved Smash characters with the least amount of people that have actually played their games.
Total transparency, I've sadly been one of these people for a long time. Ness and Lucas were some of my favorite characters in Smash, with Lucas being my main in Brawl, and Ness being my main in Smash 4. See, I've been wanting to do an analysis of their moves since the start of this series, but I promised myself I would not do it until both Mother 3 and Earthbound were completed.
True, but I think I'll get a better understanding of the characters if I actually play their games and see where they're all from, See where all the moves are from.
So while I play these games, how exactly do they begin? The Mother series was created by Shigesato Itoi, and the first installment of the series was Mother on the Famicom. He pitched it to Miyamoto as an RPG set in modern times, and obviously Miyamoto was a bit skeptical. However, the game was set to be developed and released in Japan in 1989. It did not, however, make it to North America until last year on the Virtual Console, which is pretty odd. But even in Japan, this game was a small-time hit. Itoi eventually went on to make Mother 2, dubbed Earthbound in North America. However, it was facing a really bad development cycle and nearly got cancelled. That is until Itoi sought the help and guidance of Satoru Iwata.
Believe it or not, at that time, Iwata was known for being such a superb programmer that managed to make some amazing games out of little utilities.
And he managed to flip the game's grinding development to only a 6-month process, building development tools for the team to make it easier to work with. This isn't the last time Iwata helped the Mother series out either. If you recall, he became the president of HAL Laboratories and was heavily responsible for the development of Smash 64. Actually, it was really only Sakurai and Iwata that made that game and got it done for Christmas of 1998. And if that wasn't enough, for all you Melee fans, Iwata helped release that game on time too. So in a way, I guess you could say without Iwata, Ness and potentially Lucas could have been forgotten as a relic of Nintendo's past. So that only leaves Mother 3. Oddly enough, it was released in 2006 and even to this day is a Japan exclusive. So yep, the series is pretty elusive. The first one only released in English last year, Mother 3 is still lost in translation, and Earthbound only just was made available worldwide.
So, as it took 2 minutes for me to complete both Mother 3 and Earthbound, now we can finally get into Ness and Lucas' story, and just as a forewarning, I'm probably going to spoil a thing or two. I'm going to try my best not to, but come on, these games are like 10 and 20 years old. If you're so concerned about spoilers, play it!
Okay, let's begin in On It. Earthbound is a game starring a red hat, striped shirt kid, Ness. The game's events begin with a meteorite crashing into a hill above Ness's home. When Ness and his friends eventually get to the meteor, they encounter a bug called BuzzBuzz. He tells them of the evil Gygas and his plans to ruin all life on the planet, take over the universe, etc., etc. But Ness and 3 other heroes possess the power to stop him. It's their destiny. With this, Ness has to travel across the world, befriend the other heroes, and find the 8 Your Sanctuary locations. These locations possess pieces of a song and, once completed, let Ness conceive his true power and let him confront the evil Gygas. Lucas' story isn't as straightforward. See, the starting hour or so of the game provides a catalyst for all of the game's events to come. Lucas' mother mysteriously gets killed and the town he once lived in starts to change for the worse. Here we meet Flint, his father, Duster, Kumatora, and Salsa, and set them on their ways before the real adventure begins 3 years later. Essentially, on both Ness and Lucas' quest, they must awaken their true power. This power is known as PK or PSI energy. Now, it was translated to PSI in the English game, but I think it's a mistranslito. So I'll just follow the Japanese and Smash's naming convention of PK attacks. These PK abilities are a byproduct of the evil that comes into the world, which is why the enemies in Earthbound and Mother 3 have PK-type attacks. It's a pretty epic story that lets you, the player, not only see how characters in the world changes around you, but you yourself as a player. So okay, but why does everyone love these games? Oh boy, where do I begin? This world is zany. Like, you probably know Undertale, right? And all that exists in that game, from comedy to story to was inspired by Earthbound. It's like the Colin mockery of JRPGs.
Comes to mind when I say the word ska.
Sandpaper.
The story and plot points, the wacky, unpredictable enemies, the quirky items, the gameplay aspects. No matter what it is, they always find a way to surprise you. Like, Ness will start missing attacks and fights and you won't know why, but it's because he's homesick. He misses his mom, he misses his home. Oh, you're in the jungle and the only way to save the game is to call on a phone. So what do? Oh, don't worry, dude, we got you a bird, you're good. Here we can't advance because this boulder is blocking the way. The only way to move it is this guy. But, oh wait, the whole village is full of people who are too shy to communicate, so you can't move it. So what do you have to do? Go find a book for dummies on overcoming shyness. Yes! Mother 3 is the exact same. I kind of hesitate to talk about it because of its story, but like, oh, you want to save? How about you just go talk to those frogs? They'll do it all for you. Oh, now he's in a car. Only few are destined to open these doors by busting a move. The Mother games are some of the only RPGs I've ever played that make it feel very personal. I feel like it's more personal if you don't name the characters your own name. Actually, a key to this is Ness and Lucas' PK attacks, as you can name their PK Rockin' and PK Love moves whatever you like at the start of the game. So as you can name characters, the name of this move correlates to what you name Ness and Lucas' favorite thing.
So, I went through both of their games. I made sure I got every detail I could. And you want to know the funny irony in all this? None of their moves are theirs. They borrow them. Borrow. Secret borrowing.
So yes, the funny case for these characters is that their moves in Smash aren't even theirs in their games. Heck, Lucas doesn't even have a solid move of his own. The reason? Oh, apparently they were taught to them by their partners after their games. I like to imagine that Sakurai was like, these games aren't getting sequels, so I'm gonna represent them fully, like who cares? I think the whole idea is that Ness and Lucas don't just represent themselves, but all the characters in their games. Like the rope snake Lucas has. It's actually Duster's ability, which was translated to Lucas's tether grab and tether recovery. So that's cool, but what else? Well, all their specials are on the same boat. PK Fire, a move both Ness and Lucas have, is borrowed from their partners Paula and Kumatora. PK Fire in the games is basically a move you use to hit multiple enemies with a fiery attack. Its description actually reads that it's shot from the fingers at a row of enemies. When we take a look at the uses of this move in Smash, we can see 1, it's shot in a horizontal line, and 2, it's shot out of the fingers. Pretty neat. Now between Ness and Lucas, this move varies a bit. Where both moves need to hit their target in order for it to have an effect, Ness's ignites and traps opponents while Lucas's has plain old knockback. Also, Lucas's comes out more like a Kamehameha, so yeah, +1 for him. Next is PK Thunder, and it's pretty similar across Ness and Lucas, save for a few percentage differences in distance and what have you. But it comes in 2 forms, dubbed PK Thunder 1 and 2. While 1 is where you use it as a movable projectile, PK Thunder 2 is used as Ness and Lucas' recovery. In the games, however, this is learned by their partners Paula, Pooh, and Kumatora. Again. Essentially, it's a strong move that hits multiple enemies that, at later levels, hits them multiple times. Smash's version, then, is pretty similar, as it can hit enemies multiple times, and is a strong move when you use it as PK Thunder 2. PK Magnet, again, is Paula, Pooh, and Kumatora's ability. It functions similarly to how it does in Mother, though in Smash it drains percent from energy-based attacks, as opposed to draining energy directly from enemies. Ness and Lucas's differ very slightly, with Ness's being able to push enemies a little bit, and Lucas's doing a bit of damage. Also, his looks cooler. The one PK move that's different between both of them is Lucas's PK Freeze. The real kicker here is that he doesn't even use this in his game, while he does use PK Flash. Anyways, it works pretty similarly to how it does in Mother. It can freeze enemies and does damage at higher levels, yada yada. Cool. You want to know the icing on the cake about all this? You want to know the worst of it all? In Earthbound, Pooh leaves the group in order to train for a long time, undergoing mental hardship and his own doubts about himself to learn the elusive and powerful PK Starstorm. And then Ness just asks how to do it, and then bam, he has it in Smash. No big deal. Oh, and Lucas, same thing with Lucas. He just learns it. Whatever.
So yeah, I hear ya. On one hand, yes, it's pretty BS. But on the other, what did they have in their games that was interesting? They healed.
So, as you can see, a lot of their iconic moves in Smash just aren't theirs. As I said, I think Sakurai did this just to represent the game as a whole, represent abilities in the game that players remember. Plus, this is an RPG, and how the moves look is up to the player's imagination. However, there are a few traits that they do have that were carried over from shit they actually did in their games. First, and probably the most obvious, are their smash attacks. In Earthbound, you have primary attacks, and usually these consist of punches, kicks, bashes, and what have you. These get strengthened by equipment you pick up in the game, and they can change on your adventure. There's a lot of them, actually, and some are really hard to get, like 1 in 28 odds. How the hell do you get the Gutsy Bat? For Ness, we see this in his bat and yo-yo, 2 of his most common items found, while Lucas only has his trusty stick. Yeah. But did you ever consider why there's smash attacks, though? Well, in the games, primary attacks have a neat trait, where sometimes you'll get a smash attack. Smash! And like smash attacks in Smash Bros., they strengthen moves to crazy amounts and come clutch in some situations. Now, I think this is why the moves are assigned to be both their forward smashes and Ness's up and down smashes. So, what about their PK moves, or PSI, or whatever you decide to call them? The only one that's a move is fittingly Ness's neutral special, PK Flash. Yes, trust me, I had no idea what he was saying in Melee either.
You get crust! You get crust! You get crust! You get crust!
Pizza crust.
You get tender!
Chicken tenders!
Boy, if you don't Okay, so in the Mother games or any RPG, you kind of have to interpret what the moves actually look like when you do them. And I mean, Fire, Thunder, and Freeze, they're kind of self-explanatory. Flash, not so much. So for this, all we get is a multi-property move that can cause numbness, strange feelings, crying, etc. But it also can be leveled up to a point where it can defeat enemies in a single blow. Sakurai describes the attack as growing more powerful as you hold the B button because Ness is charging PSI. So I guess it's kind of true to its origin, as you need more psychic points to use it at higher levels. And that's not it for Ness's PK moves. Right from when he enters battle in Smash 64, we can see PK Teleport, an ability Ness learns later in the game that allows you to teleport to any area you want. What you'll often remember this move for is crashing into walls because you can't find a long enough range of land to run. And that's why Ness is covered in black ash when he enters the battle. And yup, in the Melee opening, Ness appears teleporting from somewhere to on it. And hey, it's the Runaway 5, dudes! What are you doing here? And since we're talking about it, Lucas rides in on his Mr. Saturn coffee table that, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Actually, Lucas takes his running animation from this game, which is a new ability in Mother 3 that allows you to travel around quicker. Yeah, a lot of these little types of nods make it into Smash Bros. For example, when you're on the menu to decide your name and whatnot, the creator Shigesatu Itoi asks you, "Is this okay?" in Japanese. Some people think this is referenced in Ness's famous taunt he's had since Smash 64. Alternatively, there are points in the game where Ness gets his picture taken from the traveling photographer. No idea how that works. But he turns towards the screen to take the picture, and I think it might have inspired him turning towards the screen in his taunt. And finally, let's go back to PK Love and PK Rockin'. These are essentially Ness and Lucas's main PK moves, which is funny because they don't appear as moves in Smash. Then again, how could they? I mean, they're just a title for their special and there's nothing else to it. Now, I think these main moves of theirs are potent in a lot of the other moves they use in Smash. Like, have you ever wondered why their back throws and up throw are pretty strong and make people go on Twitter saying LOL Ness players? Well, I think it's because these kids have loads of PK energy that allow them to throw you with no effort at all. And this isn't exclusive to grabs. Their movement on the ground and air is based on their PK abilities. I remember Ness's double jump in Melee being one of the main reasons I could not stand playing him. And Ness and Lucas's double jump, they basically use their PK energy to flip upwards in the air and stay afloat longer. Even in their taunts, both of them emit a bit of energy just to show off. You're like, yeah, I could use this, but I don't want him. And lastly, one of the most notable places we see their PK energy is in their attacks. They basically use it to strengthen moves and give them multi-hitting properties. Moves such as their forward aerials, back aerials, and down aerials are some examples between the two of them. What's neat is it's actually Lucas that uses more energy in his normals. We see it in his dash attack, forward tilt, up tilt, neutral aerial, down smash, and even his super duper epic up smash, which some people think is the most notable example of PK Love. However, these moves in general really adopt the battle style effects we see in Mother in the background. Yeah, those hexagonal thingies. It would have been really cool if they took the little thing from Mother 3 where if you hit somebody it makes a Seinfeld noise. No joke. animated costumes hold some pretty interesting pieces of trivia too. Ness himself has a shirt with Mr. Saturn on it, a staple Mother character, while this one is an homage to the UI you see in the fights and the menu where you pick your name. And finally, there's a Master Belch shirt. Lucas's, however, have even more behind them. Obviously, he has his Claws outfit, and he also has a shirt with a baby Drago on it, and a cute little baby Drago. He's like, yeah. Also, he has a shirt with his beloved dog Boney on it, and a shirt with this, masked individual man guy.
We went through quite a lot today. We went through the background of their games, their stories, the moves they do have, and the moves they don't have, and I probably wouldn't have learned as much as I did if I didn't play their games, so thankfully I did.
I'm just so happy that I could share the joy that I've found playing Earthbound and Mother 3, because their games are just, they changed me, honestly. I love Lucas, and I love Ness, and now I love them even more because I've played their games and know what they're all about. So what's the conclusion? What have I made about all this? Well, just like how Earthbound is a very different type of RPG game, Ness and Lucas are very different type of Smash Bros. Characters. The best way I can put it is that they're quirky and weird.
Seriously, in Smash, they're some of the weirdest characters. Remember, if you played Smash 64 or Melee, Ness was just that weird-ass kid. You didn't know how to use him, his recovery was weird, you didn't want to play him. But that's really the essence of what Mother 3 and Earthbound are.
I don't think Sakurai was missing a beat when he was representing Ness and Lucas as trophies of their original games.
Anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. I put so much work into it to make sure that I could get every detail I could, but if I didn't get everything, let me know in the comments because, you know, I like to improve. But that'll be it from me. Take care, and I will see you on the flip side. Take it
Boo! Oh, I got you. Huh. Well, anyways, yeah, this is a shirt, and I'm selling it. I'm not even going to beat around the bush. If you want to buy one of these shirts, you can. The link's in the description, and it's on the video overlay. This is not some Loot Crate stuff or anything or other. This goes directly to me if you buy one. So if you want to support my channel, if you like my shit, and you want something to show for it, there's a nice piece of merch. I mean, I would buy it. I've already bought two, so yes. Anyways, thank you for watching. This video was a hell of a lot of work, but I think it paid off. This is one of those videos that I'm gonna look back on in 15 years and be like, I made that video. That Ness and Lucas video is prime. Mario, it's prime. Anyways, take it easy. I will see you on the flip side.